Good evening, everyone. In tonight's episode of our podcast, we'll be listening to the harrowing account of a 911 dispatcher who received a call that shattered everything she thought she knew about the world. What started as a routine emergency from the remote forests of Washington state quickly descended into a living nightmare when the voice on the other end of the line changed, and it wasn't human anymore. This is the story of Rachel Winters, a seasoned emergency operator who spent 6 years guiding people through their darkest moments, until one October night when something ancient and intelligent spoke her name through a dead man's phone. What you're about to hear isn't just another tale of things that go bump in the night. This is a first-hand testimony of how modern technology, the very systems we've built to keep us safe, can become a hunting tool for something that's been watching us from the shadows, learning our language, studying our frequencies, and waiting for the perfect moment to make contact. Rachel's experience will make you question every unknown number that lights up your phone screen, every moment of static on the line, and every silence that feels just a little too long. So turn off your lights, put on your headphones, and whatever you do, don't answer any calls from unknown numbers while listening to this story, because some things, once they learn your voice, never stop calling back. This is the 911 call that made me quit dispatching forever. Let's begin. I still remember the exact moment I realized that some calls never truly end. They follow you home, settle into your bones, and replay in your mind during the quiet hours when you're trying to sleep. My name is Rachel Winters, and for 6 years I worked as a 911 dispatcher in a mid-sized town in northern Washington state. I've heard screams, gunshots, domestic disputes that made my stomach turn, and frantic parents reporting missing children. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, prepared me for the call I received on October 14th, 2019. That call changed everything. It changed how I see the woods around my town, how I interpret silence on the line, and most terrifyingly, it changed what I believe is possible in this world. Let me start by saying that dispatching isn't what people think. It's not just sitting at a desk drinking coffee and reading addresses to police officers. You become intimately connected to people in their worst moments. You hear their last words sometimes. You hear them die. You carry that weight. And over time, you build walls to protect yourself. You have to, or you'd never survive the job. I thought those walls were impenetrable. I thought I'd heard everything. I was wrong. Before that night, my routine was predictable. I worked a swing shift, 3 to 11, for days a week. Our dispatch center was small, just 4 stations in a windowless room with fluorescent lights that hummed constantly. The coffee was terrible. The chairs were uncomfortable, and the air conditioning was always either too cold or too hot. But it was my space. I knew every button, every protocol, every officer's voice on the radio. I felt competent, in control. The weird thing is, there were small signs something was different that night. Little details that didn't register until much later. My headset kept producing this faint static, almost like breathing, even when no one was on the line. I'd mentioned it to my supervisor, Tom, but he just shrugged and said the equipment was old. We were always complaining about something. Then there was the call about 40 minutes before the call. A woman reporting strange lights moving through the forest near Highway 20. She sounded shaken, insistent, but when deputies checked it out, they found nothing. Just trees and darkness. I logged it as unfounded and moved on. At 9:47 p.m., my console lit up. Call coming in from a cell phone. No address, just GPS coordinates that placed it somewhere in the Cascade Mountain foothills, about 12 miles outside of town. Remote area, logging roads and abandoned campsites. I clicked to accept the call and gave my standard greeting. 911, what's your emergency? Silence, but not empty silence. I could hear something. Breathing, shallow and rapid, like someone running. Then a rustling sound. Fabric against the phone maybe, or branches scraping. Hello? This is 911. Can you hear me? A male voice, young, maybe early 20s. Barely a whisper. Please, please, you have to help me. My training kicked in immediately. Stay calm. Get information. Location first. Okay, I'm here to help. Can you tell me where you are? I don't know exactly. We were camping near the old fire lookout tower off Forest Service Road 39. But I ran. I've been running and His voice broke. Real terror. You learn to distinguish between panic and genuine existential fear. This was the latter. Okay, you're doing great. What's your name? Trevor. Trevor Mills. Please, you have to send someone. It took Brian. It took him, and I heard him screaming and... The line crackled. That same static I'd been hearing all night, but louder now, almost rhythmic. Like interference, but wrong somehow. Organic. Trevor, stay with me. Who took Brian? Is someone attacking you? It's not human. His breathing was getting more ragged. I could hear him moving through brush, stumbling. We thought it was a bear at first. We heard it circling our camp. But bears don't do this. Bears don't. A sound came through the line that made every hair on my body stand straight up. It wasn't a roar or a growl. It was almost like vocalization, but distorted, layered with multiple tones at once. Imagine someone trying to mimic human speech, but with a mouth that wasn't designed for it. And underneath that sound, I swear I heard something that sounded like laughter. Trevor made a choked noise. Oh God, it's close. I can hear it. Trevor, are you injured? Can you keep moving? My leg. I twisted my ankle. I can't run anymore. I'm hiding behind some rocks near a creek. I can hear the water. His whisper was so quiet I had to turn up my headset volume. It's looking for me. It knows I'm here. I was already typing coordinates for deputies, flagging the call as urgent. But that area, 12 miles of forest roads in the dark, response time would be at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Deputies are on the way, Trevor. I need you to stay quiet and stay on the line with me. Don't hang up. It's making sounds, like it's trying to talk. His voice was shaking so badly, I could barely understand him. Earlier, when it took Brian, it said his name. It said Brian, just like a person would, but wrong. The pitch was wrong. My skin felt cold. I'd handled animal attack calls before. Cougar sightings, aggressive bears. But this didn't fit any pattern I knew. Trevor, can you describe what you saw? It was dark. We only had our flashlights. It came into our camp so fast. Tall, maybe 7 feet, maybe more. It moved like... God, how do I describe it? Like it was too long. Too many joints in the limbs. When it grabbed Brian, he tried to fight, but it just lifted him like he weighed nothing. His breath hitched. The way it looked at me before I ran. It had eyes. Reflective, like an animal, but positioned wrong. Too far apart. Too knowing. I could hear water trickling in the background of his call. And then another sound. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, but with an odd cadence. Not the rhythm of a human walk. Trevor's whisper became almost inaudible. It's here. It's on the other side of the rocks. Rachel. Your name is Rachel, right? I heard you say it. I didn't remember giving my name, but sometimes I did on long calls. Yes, I'm Rachel. I'm right here with you. If I don't make it, tell my mom I tried. Tell her. The sound that came next will haunt me for the rest of my life. A wet, snapping noise, like greenwood breaking. Then Trevor screamed. Not a movie scream, but raw, animalistic terror and agony. The kind of scream that comes from somewhere primal when your body knows it's about to die. Trevor. Trevor. The screaming stopped abruptly, cut off mid-breath. The phone was still connected. I could hear that static again, that organic breathing sound, and then something else. Movement. The phone being picked up. Trevor, if you can hear me, help is coming. Stay with me. Breathing directly into the receiver now. Slow, deliberate, and then that voice again, the layered, wrong vocalization. It said something. 3 words, clear as day despite the impossible quality of the sound. I hear you. My blood turned to ice. It was talking to me. Through the phone. To me specifically. I should have hung up. Protocol said once the caller is incapacitated, and the call and dispatch units. But I froze, completely paralyzed at my console, with that thing breathing into Trevor's phone 12 miles away in the dark forest. Hello, Rachel. It said my name. The syllables were elongated, distorted, like each sound required deliberate effort. Such interesting sounds you make. Talking into the air. Talking to prey. I couldn't breathe. I literally forgot how. My hand hovered over the disconnect button, trembling. Who are you? I don't know why I asked. The question just fell out of my mouth. That laugh again. Multiple tones layered together. Old. Hungry. Curious about your little metal voices in the night. Where's Trevor? Gone. Consumed. Like all the others who wandered too far from your lights. The breathing grew heavier. You smell different through the machine. Distant. Safe. But I remember voices. I remember frequencies. I could find you, Rachel, if I wanted to listen hard enough. Every instinct screamed at me to disconnect, to throw the headset across the room. But I needed to keep it talking. The deputies were getting close. Maybe they could still help. Even if Trevor was... I couldn't let myself finish that thought. Why are you doing this? Why do you breathe? Why do you eat? I am what I am. This is my territory. My hunting ground. For centuries before your kind brought metal boxes and radio waves. Something rustled on the line. They call to me sometimes. Your machines. Late at night. Little voices in the dark. Frightened prey advertising their location. The deputies are almost there, I said, trying to sound brave. They'll find you. They will find blood, bones, evidence of what you call violence. But me, that disturbing laugh. I am already gone, back into the deep places, back where your lights don't reach, and your metal voices fade to whispers. Why tell me this? Because fear is delicious in all its forms. And now you know. Now, when your little machine lights up from these woods, you will wonder, is it prey calling for help? Or is it me calling for you? The line went dead. I sat there for what felt like hours, but was probably only seconds. My hand was shaking so hard I could barely type the update notes. I flagged the call, marked Trevor as endangered, added notes about possible wildlife attack, and what else could I say? That something intelligent and predatory had spoken to me through a dead man's phone. The deputies found Trevor's body 3 hours later. What was left of it? The official report listed it as a mountain lion attack, possibly a bear. Severe trauma consistent with large predator. His friend Brian was discovered 200 yards away in similar condition. Their campsite was destroyed. Their supplies scattered. The investigating officers said it looked like the attack was prolonged, methodical. Trevor's phone was found in the creek, water damaged but intact. When they pulled the call logs, our conversation was there. All 23 minutes of it. But the last 4 minutes, the ones where that thing spoke to me, were corrupted. Just static and distortion. The recording was unusable as evidence. I took a week off after that. Tom said it was standard protocol after a traumatic call. He sent me to the department counselor, who talked about PTSD and coping mechanisms and how dispatchers often internalize the trauma of callers. She meant well. But how do you explain that the trauma wasn't just hearing someone die, but hearing what killed them speak your name? When I came back to work, I changed my shift to days. I told myself it was for better work-life balance. But really, I couldn't handle night calls anymore. Every time the console lit up with coordinates from the mountain foothills, my heart would race. Every silence on the line made me wonder if I was about to hear that breathing again, 3 weeks after Trevor's death, we got another call from the forest. A hiker, disoriented, scared, said she'd heard something following her through the trees. Something that moved wrong. Deputies found her safe, but shaken. She kept insisting something had been playing with her, herding her toward the road. When they asked her to describe it, she couldn't. Just that it was tall, too tall, and moved like it was learning how limbs worked. I pulled the audio of her call later, after my shift. In the background of her frightened voice, I heard it. That faint static, that organic breathing sound, like something was listening to the call, monitoring it, learning the patterns of how we communicate. I don't work dispatch anymore. I quit 5 months after Trevor's death. Officially, I told them I was moving for family reasons. The truth is I couldn't sit in that chair anymore. Couldn't put on that headset. Couldn't answer calls from the dark places outside of town. Every phone call felt like an invitation. Every silence felt like something waiting. But here's the thing that keeps me awake at night. The thing I can't stop thinking about. That creature said it remembers frequencies, remembers voices. Our dispatch system broadcasts on specific radio bands. Our cell towers create predictable patterns. We've built this entire network of electronic communication, never considering what else might be listening, what might learn to use it. Sometimes, late at night, my cell phone will ring. No caller ID. When I answer, there's nothing but static and breathing. Slow, deliberate, patient. I tell myself it's spam calls, glitches in the system, random interference. But deep down, I know better. Because 3 nights ago, I answered one of those calls, and after 30 seconds of breathing, I heard it. Faint, distorted, layered with that impossible multitonal quality. "Hello, Rachel. I told you I remember voices." I hung up immediately, blocked the number, but it doesn't matter. Numbers can change. Phones can be replaced. But whatever is out there in those dark forests, whatever spoke to me through Trevor's phone, it knows how our world works now. It's adapted, evolved, and it's patient. I keep my phone off most nights now. I avoid hiking trails and forest roads. I stay where the lights are bright and the crowds are thick. But sometimes, in the quiet moments before sleep, I wonder how many other dispatchers have heard that voice. How many other calls have been corrupted or explained away? How many people have gone missing in those woods while something ancient and hungry learned to mimic human speech, to track human technology, to hunt us using the very tools we built to keep ourselves safe? The official story is that Trevor Mills and Brian Cooper died in a tragic wildlife attack. 2 young men who ventured too far into wilderness and paid the price. Their families got closure. The case was closed. But I know the truth. And now so do you. So the next time you're out in the deep woods and your phone rings with no caller ID, or you hear something moving through the trees with too many joints, or you encounter something tall and wrong that knows your name, just remember that some things have learned to speak our language. Some things have learned to use our tools. And some things are still very, very hungry. I still have nightmares about that call, about Trevor's final scream, about the way that creature said my name. But the worst nightmares are the ones where I'm back at that dispatch console, and the phone is ringing, and I absolutely know, that when I answer, it won't be someone calling for help. It'll be something calling to remind me that it's still out there, still listening, still waiting, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it.